Nelson, and I'm the Director of Communication for the city. Before we begin, I'd just like to share a little bit of information about tonight's program and how it'll go, and then we'll have some folks come up and speak. Tonight is an opportunity for you to learn more about the proposed budget and ask your questions directly to city leadership. The proposed budget outlines the city's priorities for the coming year, but nothing is final until the City Council approves that proposed budget in September. So we very much want your voices to be part of this process, and your timing is great for coming out this evening. This is the second of 7 community input sessions that will take place in all districts across the city. Each session is scheduled for 1 hour and will be divided into 3 parts. We will first begin with a few words from District 4 Councilwoman Kaylin Paxson, followed by a brief video highlighting some key points about the proposed budget and remarks from our city manager, Peter Zanoni. Once these remarks are complete, we'll open the floor to your questions. We have a microphone right here, and so we'll ask everyone at that time to line up to speak. We do ask that people who reside in this district be able to go first. Each person will have 2 minutes to speak, and we'll be keeping time just to make sure that as many people as possible have an opportunity to come up and give us their feedback. We do ask that you be respectful and courteous when speaking. And then after that, we'll do that for a little while. We'll transition to the open house portion of the meeting, which is we have some key departments around the room, and you can just ask them your questions one-on-one and speak with them directly. And so with that, please allow me to introduce Councilwoman Kaylin Paxson.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. So many familiar District 4 faces and some new faces I look forward to getting to know this evening. My name is Kaylin Paxson, as you heard, and I am your District 4 City Council representative, and that is an honor. This is my first term, so this is my first budget with the City of Corpus Christi. But don't go easy on me. Don't go easy on us. So tonight, this part of the process is the fun part. Our professionals under City Manager Peter Zanoni have really come together and worked hard to bring us this proposed budget, and this is one of our opportunities where we get to go through that and provide that input. So they're saying, this is what we're looking at going into fiscal year 2026, but we want to hear from the community because that's what we're all here to do, to serve and work together with this community. So as we move through the processes tonight, anytime you see myself or any staff member, please stop us, give us some comments, let us know what you're thinking, ask some questions. This is an important part of that process again. So thank you guys for being here. I know we're in great hands. The team, we have a lot of different departments represented here. And again, if you need me, I'll be over. Get my number, get my email. So thanks, guys.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Peter Zanoni, the city manager. And before we show the video, we do have a number of city council members and the mayor here with us that we want to introduce. We know that we always have a great turnout here in City Council District 4. And so, and I think the mayor and council knows that. So I think almost all of them are here. So I want to introduce them real quick. We have Mayor Guajardo in the back. Mayor. Yeah. Of course, the district representative, Kaylin Paxson, who spoke earlier, and yep. I'm not going to go by any order, just who I see first and second and so on. So in our front is Councilman Hernandez from City Council District 5. And by the way, tomorrow night we're going to have another one of these forums, and it will be in City Council District 5. And so we're going to see if Councilman Hernandez can beat this crowd tomorrow. Councilman, yeah, both these districts have great turnout, so we appreciate Councilman Hernandez being here. In the back of the room, also Councilman Barrera, City Council District at Large. Councilman. And we also have Councilman Mark Scott, who was here a half hour earlier to talk to the folks, right, Councilman? Yeah. Yeah. He thought the meeting was at 5:30, so he's been here for a while, but hopefully it gave people a chance to speak with him, right? And I think that's it. Am I missing anyone from our city council? Good. So we do appreciate the city council, and I know you all do, being here this evening. And as Councilwoman Paxton said, there's a number of department heads here as well. So the second part of this evening's forum is for you to engage with them one-on-one. And we appreciate especially our public safety chiefs being here. Both police and fire chief are here, right? Many of their frontline staff as well. We have many of our directors are here as well from the key departments. So with that, we're going to turn it over to the video, and then I'll come back up, say a few more words, and then we're going to hear from you all till about 6:30-ish, 6:35-ish or so. And then we'll break out into the back room forum, okay? So the video will be right over here to the right.
The City of Corpus Christi's proposed financial year 2025-2026 budget focuses on the essential services that support daily life and long-term progress in our city. Each year, the city develops a balanced budget through a months-long process that includes financial forecasting, internal planning, departmental review, and city council oversight. Public input is also a key part of this process. This year, a preliminary forecast was reviewed with City Council on April 29, showing a $7 million gap between projected revenues and expenses, driven by reduced property tax revenue due to increased homestead exemptions, the elimination of the street user fee, flat sales tax revenue, and rising service delivery costs tied to inflation and contractual obligations. The city was able to close this gap by increasing fees for service and reductions in expenses by identifying efficiencies and savings. The proposed budget remains balanced. It upholds the city's strong financial standing, backed by multiple credit rating upgrades over the last 6 years and revenue gains through renegotiated industrial agreements. The fiscal year 2025-2026 proposal concentrates on 4 key areas. First, streets. Since 2019, the city has invested over $695 million in street infrastructure across all 5 districts. A major focus has been on what is now the Rapid Pavement Program, or RPP, which has restored more than 100 center lane miles of neighborhood streets, bringing long overdue improvements directly to residents' doorsteps. These improvements not only enhance safety and mobility, but also raise the overall quality of life in neighborhoods across Corpus Christi. In fiscal year 2025-2026, additional funding is proposed to continue this progress, prioritizing the streets residents use every day. Second, public safety. The city has expanded police and fire staffing, opened a dedicated police training academy, and upgraded emergency response capabilities. In the last 6 years, the Corpus Christi Police Department and Fire Department have grown to over 500 police officers and 450 firefighters, the largest force in our history. In FY 2025-2026, the proposed budget includes funding for 5 additional police officer positions and 5 new firefighter positions, strengthening our ability to serve a growing community. For police, we've added patrol units, modern technology, body-worn cameras, and advanced training to enhance safety and transparency. The new Police Training Academy has strengthened recruitment and officer readiness. For fire, we've increased staffing, are actively replacing aging stations, and have invested in new fire engines, ladder trucks, medic units, and rescue equipment. Significant investments have equipped both departments with state-of-the-art gear and communication systems to keep our community safe. The proposed budget maintains support for personnel, equipment, and training. Third, water and wastewater systems. Water security remains a long-term priority for the city. The proposed budget continues to invest in improvements that ensure a reliable water supply and resilient infrastructure for the future. These investments support essential maintenance, replacement of aging systems, and planning for future growth. Recent upgrades have strengthened our capacity to deliver safe, dependable water and wastewater services. This year's proposed budget builds on that progress, supporting infrastructure modernization and planning efforts to meet the needs of a growing community. Together, these efforts form a resilient strategy to deliver reliable water access for the region. In addition, recent capital improvements have elevated the reliability and strength of our city's water systems. This year's proposed budget includes further investment to modernize aging infrastructure and support long-term capacity planning. Fourth, quality of life and community well-being. The proposed budget includes additional funding for animal care services to support shelter operations and improve service delivery. It also includes funding for a new full-time position focused on homelessness response and coordination, strengthening the city's efforts in addressing this complex issue. These additions reflect continued attention to areas that impact day-to-day quality of life in our community. Together, these priorities reflect a disciplined approach, focusing on what's essential, what's sustainable, and what serves the greatest number of residents. The proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 budget is a responsible plan built on financial stability, a focus on core services, and long-range planning.
All right, great. How'd you like that video? Right? How about the music at the end? Was that right? All right. That was all produced in-house, just for the tax watchers out there. So we used our in-house team to produce the video. It's a good way just to summarize the kind of the budget, you know. So I'm going to just say a couple of things, and then we'll allow the residents to speak, because we're really here to listen to you and myself, but the big team of city team leads that are here and city officials tonight, as we will over these next 7 meetings, get a chance to listen to you on the budget in particular. And so the budget is developed by myself and the team across the city, and it's a starting point with the city council and the community. It's very similar to how it works in Washington, right, where the president, I'm not the president, but where he presents a budget, and then Congress deliberates and ultimately adopts the budget. So the same thing here, the city charter requires that the city manager develop and propose and present a budget to city council. And then the tough work begins, which is city council has numerous work sessions, like we had one this morning from 9 to noon. And then importantly for you is we go out to the community and hear from the community about what do you like in the budget, what do you want more of, less of. And so there's 7 of those engagement sessions. There is a staff table here from the budget office, and one of their jobs tonight is to take down everything that you say, and we'll be doing that. And then across the 7 meetings, there's 5 districts, and then we do a special one in the island and a special one in Calallen. Across those 7 meetings, we'll be compiling all the comments from the residents. And where we see consensus, generally, those changes are made in the budget. So what you say tonight does matter. Very simple statement. We're not here just to, fill the hour. We're here to hear what the community, we are here to hear what the community has to say. And it makes a difference. And every budget that I've done with this city, this is number 6, all 5 of them have had changes from the proposed budget to the adopted budget because of what the residents say. Okay, so know that. So the budget staff's here dictating those changes that you're requesting tonight. Now, is there anybody here this evening on the Flower Bluff Hart Library issue? A few folks. Councilwoman Paxton and I have been tracking this, a good number of you all. So I just want to say a couple things on the opening here. One, this is not, the change in the operating hours are not a budget issue. These weren't recommended because of the budget. So they're not a budget balancing issue, as the parent in the back shaking her head. It's good that you know that. It's not a budget issue, it's a school calendar issue. And the school calendar for Flower Bluff class began today. That library is one of 5 branch libraries. We have a central library and 5 branches. That library is one of 2 in the city that are a co-run library on a school campus. And so in this case, it's with Flower Bluff Independent School District. The message right now to you all, and we can talk to you more about it, is Councilwoman Paxton and myself have been in close coordination and communication with not only the school board chair, but also with the superintendent, Mr. Chris. So we are going to re-engage with the superintendent, Chris Steinbruck, tomorrow, because we're hearing that the solutions that we've put in place might not be adequate. There might not have been enough notice from the school district. We know that there's a lot of homeschool parents, right, like the lady in the back, that benefit from the library. The issue from the school district that we supported is that they have to follow safety law from the state. And the library is on a school campus, and so they follow school laws. And so the issue is having a facility where regular patrons can commingle with students is not acceptable from the state safety protocols anymore, and we don't have to go into any examples. I think the audience understands that. But maybe there's a little bit more of a transition phase that we can do, and so that's what we'll be talking to Superintendent Steinbruck about more. We already did some, but we're going to talk more, just so you know. Okay, so with that, let me just do a quick summary on the budget. So as you saw in the video, the budget's balanced. That's an important thing. We run a tight ship here at the city, right? Yeah. This isn't the federal government where you run big deficits, right? But we did have to reduce this budget. So we cut $4 million. We reduced $4 million in services and other initiatives in the budget as a way to balance it, because we have to live within our means. We are receiving less revenue than a few years ago, and the revenue growth for this next fiscal year is not projected to be strong. So we're recommending in the budget some reductions. We're recommending, as we do in every budget, some service fee adjustments for specialty programs or services that not everybody benefits from. And so there's some, as we do in every budget, some fee adjustments as well in the budget. So not too much else is done in the budget. We were fortunate that our property values came in a little bit higher than we had initially forecasted. That enabled us to close the gap, but also add 5 additional police officer positions and 5 additional firefighter positions. That's important, right? Public safety is real important for us here. Also important to you, and we can see our Public Works Director, Ernesto De La Garza, here. We're making progress in our streets. Do you all believe that? We're making progress in our streets? Okay. So this budget actually has a little bit more, I think about $5 million more, actually, $5 or $6 million more in residential street funding. But we're going to work real close with the council and the community, because the fiscal cliff is in 27 on streets. That means that the monies that we have right now, the one-time monies, won't be recurring, and we could be financially challenged for streets next year. That's why the council's talking right now about solutions on how we can mitigate that, so we don't reach that. So strong in public safety, strong in streets. Our next biggest operation, parks, pretty decent. We did do some reductions there. Animal care was another area, though, that did have investment. Another about $350,000 in this budget. That's on top of a 1.5 or plus million mid-year adjustment to add to animal care. A little bit more money for homelessness services. We know you have a great couple of nonprofits here at Flower Bluff that help us in that area. But monies to bring back a homelessness coordinator position, and then monies for grant writing to try to get more grants for the city. That's pretty much the budget in a nutshell right there. Just 2 other things. Annual review of our water, wastewater rates. Those were actually reviewed with the city council today. And there is a recommended rate adjustment in both of those to keep up with the cost for water and the cost for delivering those services. So no increase on any other fee in terms of things like the weekly garbage collection fee. Gas fees are the same, stormwater fee. The final $1 increase in that fee to finish off a 5-year plan. And then the property tax rate remains the same, okay? Okay, so with that, I think we're gonna move on. I didn't wanna take too much of the time here, because what we wanna do now is hear from you. So I'll say up here, other people may help answer questions, but remember, you're talking to the big group that's behind you, especially our elected officials, because ultimately they have the toughest job, which is to approve a budget. And so we're going to help them with advice and recommendations, but ultimately one of their biggest jobs in the charter is to approve an annual budget for the city. They do that every year, and that's an annual spending plan that shows where we want to invest our tax dollars and other dollars. Okay? So what we do ask, if you want to follow it, it's a big crowd here tonight, but if what we've asked in other locations, if somebody, those that are living in the district get a chance to speak first, and then we'll have others that don't live in the district would speak after that. But we can follow that if you'd like. Right? I see some head shakes, so let's do that. So you just line up at the podium here. I think we have about a 2-minute per person.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just
2
me.
minutes per person. You'll hear the timer go off. That's just to kind of keep it moving along. The microphone is right here. Feel free to line up with your questions.
All right.
My question is, it has to do with the so if that is not moving
Yes, right. So the council's still deliberating on the seawater desalinization plant that is, that has been in the plan. So there are dollars in our capital budget to construct it, and there's no dollars to operate it since it's not built yet. We're also looking at numerous other water projects, and some of those are either in or not in the capital budget. So one thing on our budget is it has to be dynamic, and so the council's set to adopt the budget on September 9 with a first reading on the 2nd. So if something takes place in terms of a vote, either to continue or not to, we'll either adjust or won't adjust that. But there's plans. There's no rate impact in the 26 budget for any of the water projects necessarily, because it takes time to construct them. So the debt service doesn't come in for a few years, and so good question. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
First, I want to thank the staff member who lowered the microphone for me. So I understand, I want to ask about libraries. I understand that funds are limited and decisions have to be made. You can't make everybody happy. On page 5 of the handout, the library budget shows a reduction from the general fund. Does the city have any plans or ideas on how to at least maintain the current library services, since so many people rely on the libraries? Will we be losing library staff as a result? Has the city looked at what other cities are doing of comparable size? And have we looked into grants as possible funding?
Right. So the library has a small reduction, and in part, when we react to the Flower Bluff situation where safety has to rule, there was one vacant library coordinator, if you will, a branch manager that we wouldn't need anymore there. So that's pretty much the reduction is from that. This city council, with me working with them over these past 5 budgets, have invested back into libraries. There was 5 years ago a time where we were eliminating staff, reducing funding. We have invested consistently in the library. So this minor adjustment in this library budget is due to that Flower Bluff adjustment. In fact, in our bond program, City Council District 5, Councilman Hernandez, who's here, advocated for massive increases in spending in library for a brand new library known as the Garcia Library. And so there's money in the bond program right now to buy land and design that. It's probably going to be a 12 to 14. Well, we're going to combine it with the senior center. So it's going to be a huge investment. Laura Garcia, our library director, is here, and we have added more hours to the libraries, more book materials. So that slight reduction is not an across-the-board thing. It's a result of the Flower Bluff change. And Laura can help with more information on that. Good, thank you. Yes, ma'am, hi.
Hi, I guess my main question is also about the library
Okay.
and if there is going to be a session that we can discuss options or look for, I think it's really important for the residents of Flower Bluff to have a library in our district that is open to the public during most normal business hours, for families with kids under the age of 5 and for homeschool families, for adults who use the library regularly. We have a pretty active library, so I was hoping that there would be a time. Like if this is, since this is a budget meeting, if this is not the time to discuss it, if we could have a forum or a meeting of some kind to be able to try to work through those issues.
That's a good idea. It's probably warranted. Councilwoman Paxton and I met for a couple hours today on many things in the area, but that was one that took most of our time. So as I mentioned earlier, we will be meeting with the superintendent today or tomorrow, tomorrow or Friday. And it does include just what you're saying, more engagement from stakeholders, more engagement maybe from the library board. I'm going to have Councilwoman Paxton speak, but just real quick, just so people know, the library at the school, at Flower Bluff School, is a co-run library, meaning the students can go in there and the city patrons can go in there. And the hours, Laura will have to help us, but it was pretty much, 9 to 5, and Saturday, both entities could go in at the same time. The change for school safety is the students use it during the daytime now this is the initial plan, we may modify it. And then patrons like yourself can go in from 5 to 9, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, come up. Hey, Laura, why don't you come up? Yeah, tell us the current hours and the revised ones, yeah.
So what we'll be doing is, for now, it will be Monday through Friday, 5 to 8 p.m. Tuesday mornings, we'll have it open from 9 to 1 so that we can do story time and so forth. And then Saturday, we've increased it for the whole day from 9 to 6 at this time.
And then, good, thank you, Laura. That's our library director, Laura Garcia. But even that may not be sufficient, right, for the community? Yeah, so, yeah, ma'am, so that's why we're gonna talk to Superintendent Steinbruck and see what else can we do from his perspective. And then we have Councilwoman Paxton speak here. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Peter. I just wanted to add real quick to that. We did recognize, and this was something that kind of came about a little bit quickly this year in preparation for the school year. Of course, we want to keep all of our students safe. And if this is a protocol that we may have to move closer to because it's on a school district, the things that we talked about and tried to look for good solutions to were our homeschool community, and the school has indicated a lot of support to continue to allow resources for that. If you reach out to them and our library staff here, also like you mentioned, for our working community who utilizes the library for professional needs, and how do we augment that? And so there's even kids, who may need to utilize this space as soon as class lets out, and what happens there. And so there's still a lot of things that we need to discuss and communicate with the community so that we can see where are the key pressure points here that we can meet the needs for everybody. And I thank Peter, because as soon as this became a topic that we said, okay, this is happening sooner than any of us really have anticipated, how do we look at now the long-term solution of possibly getting a standalone library for the district? And that's great, but we do need to address the changes for this year. So those are some of the top issues we're looking at, but that's a great suggestion.
We have time for one more question, and then we'll transition to the open house portion of our meeting. We also have comment cards. They're back on a table, or you can kind of raise your hand and we'll bring you one, and make sure that the correct department gets it so that you can get an answer.
Well, first of all, I'm Samuel Andre Fryer, and I thank the council and thank the city for doing this. It's greatly appreciated, and of course, Kaylin Paxton is doing an awesome job as far as I'm concerned, representing District 4. But a question I have is dealing with the budget. I noticed it, of course, there's enhancements for animal care, and then you talked about bringing on a homeless coordinator.
Right.
I'm one in particular, constitutionally wise, the government itself, expanding the government to do things like benevolence and things that the community can do itself. What is the community doing to work with the organizations throughout the actual city that actually work with homelessness, and what are they doing for a lot of private organizations, or a lot of people talk about animal care and things like that? What is being done to offset that so we're not enhancing those programs, but working with private organizations and citizens to actually do the things that the government really probably shouldn't be worrying about?
Right. Right, so as I mentioned, Mr. Fryer, on Flower Bluff alone, we have, is it two, or at least one, right? What is Rising Tide Ministries? And Timmins, so there's two nonprofits right here just on Flower Bluff that have volunteers from the community that work to go beyond just what the city's doing. And your point's a great one, which is that the city we can't fix all the issues that exist, right, in a community. That's why I rely on people like yourself, the average community. So just taking homelessness and just taking the two nonprofits that are right here in Flower Bluff, what they do is raise money outside from the city. They also raise a volunteer corps. They get volunteer food, clothing. They help people. So we rely on partners. In homelessness alone, there's over 30 agencies in Corpus Christi alone that have that same cadre of volunteers and other monies that come to the table. So that's one response. On animal care, this community, we have to really, and that's something we're going to begin doing now that we have a strategic roadmap that was just completed and shared with the City Council. We did a very thorough, almost year-long assessment. But we as a community have to have community conversations on responsible pet ownership, on having pet owners spay neuter their pets. A lot of the problem we see, the city doesn't own any cats and dogs, right? We pick up other people's. So the community has to be really the leaders on solving this what could be seen as a crisis when it comes to stray animal population and care that people don't think is appropriate. So that's coming. We're doing some initial steps at Animal Care to include hiring appropriate staff and then improving the facilities to manage the pet population we pick up. However, coming soon is that community conversation, because we couldn't fund our way out of it, even if we had all the money we wanted. Yeah, good.
And I thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I'm just sure that the actual animals that are reproducing are maybe not pet owners, actually feral animals.
So that, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. So of course, it's unfortunate anytime we have to pick up animals, but when it becomes, which I think it is right now, is we're having to deal with it as a public safety topic. And so we're seeing that there's pets throughout the city that are just running kind of rampant. And so right now what we're doing is strategically, and we had a group come in and help us with some advice on how do we strategically position the department to be a lot more effective. But in order for that to make any sense, is we've got to be able to walk out some of those plans that they've given to us. And so doing things like increasing or improving the facilities so we do have a place to store and then relocate, and we're working with local agencies on where do the pets go once they do come to our facilities, so we're not just holding on to them for a long time. And then our coordinators, the team members that do reach out to the community, help get these pets get rehomed, help with that messaging, how do we spay and neuter, that type of thing. So those are where the increases are there, because you're right, it's not an issue that we can continually or unlimitedly fund and then resolve. It's an improvement. And then on the homeless service, the budget has been very conservative on that, where at this point, we've really only been able to allocate one full-time person, but in my meetings with Peter, he's been very open to talking about bringing on internships, ways that we can increase. So this role is going to be kind of like that pivot person. So how do we connect our local groups to the resources that we can help them with, because we know that they can reach much farther than we can on our own.
I would like to know, this year Parker Pool charged $2 for 11 and up to get in.
Okay.
And I think the city should charge $1, $2. I mean, and no one ever said a word about, they just paid it and swimming. We took in quite a bit of money, $2 a person. And we're probably going to go to $3. And the only reason we didn't do younger and up is because our website, we're trying to get that tweaked. And so, I don't know. It's generated quite a bit of
No,
money.
thank you, Flo. Yeah, we've looked into it, Flo. We looked into it. We actually have how much it would generate if we had a certain fee. We didn't recommend it in this budget. We didn't recommend it yet, but it's something. I mean, we know that at Bill Witt, we have to close that beautiful facility because it's on the regular schedule. That's what we can afford. But if we charge for admission, we could probably keep it open longer. So something we're working with Councilman Hernandez as well. So good to know. Good that community hears that, some entities do charge for that.
And we'll have those numbers in about 2 or 3 months, and we'd be happy to share that with you.
Okay.
The other thing, the library. We have plenty of land at Parker Park. You're going to love this. So if that would, if you would entertain that to be
Yeah.
a part of a bond, I think
Right.
our business association is very
We're re-
active
yeah.
behind that.
Right, we really need to. That's why the group there that comes to City Council, Mr. Munster and his team, and several that spoke yesterday. It's a community conversation we need to have with the council. Now's the right time to start it. We did in City Council District 5 2 years ago, and that led us to consensus amongst the community with a strong voter-approved new library. So we can't dodge the issue. This library situation we've had here in Flower Bluff goes back to the 90s, Laura, the 80s, 90s. 25-year model, it worked 25 years ago, but with all the school shootings, I hate to say it, but it's a model that doesn't work, and it's not even really allowed by the state anymore. So I'm glad we're beginning the conversation tonight. Flower Bluff deserves its own standalone library, and Councilwoman Paxton and I talked about the island as well at some point.
And you have the
Yeah.
land. The land's already
Right,
here.
yeah,
So
thank
that's-
you for donating the land to us.
And the homeless thing.
That we own.
So, and the homelessness.
Right.
I'm really intrigued by that, the process, because I know
Yeah,
I'd like to see our Timmons and Rising Tide both be funded.
yeah, absolutely. We just,
however
yeah,
that works.
we just put more money in the budget for them, both with Councilwoman Paxton's advocacy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good
just
deal.
a week, 2 weeks ago, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This will be the last question.
Mayor and council, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to hear us. I think it's an honor that we as citizens of Corpus Christi can proudly say that we're funding Chief Markle's police department and our fire department. I mean, it's just top notch. So thank you, council, for doing that. Second of all, I want to speak as Parks and Recreation Advisory Team. And the thing that we would like for you guys to continue to look at and know that you have is let's relook at what we can do with Bill Witt, keeping only the lap pool open year-round. We have to keep somebody out there at some point in time. You guys know the logistics. As a former pool person, I know the logistics, so I won't go into that. And again, another thing that Parks and Rec Advisory has supported is in the future looking at a small user fee, $1, $2, but at the end of the day, that ends up being a lot, and it helps us keep our things like Bill Witt open year-round. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Paulette Guajardo, and I was standing in the back because I was expecting an important phone call. But I just want to thank you all for being here. We've been here many, many years, and you all know your voice does matter. And that's what this is about. It's about being heard. It is about being heard. And this isn't the only way for that to happen, as many of you know. You can reach out to council members. You can reach out to me. You can email us all. You can sit down with us one-on-one. But what's most important and what's very impressive, and I'm biased, I'm from Flower Bluff, I grew up here, I graduated from Flower Bluff, is that you guys come together. This is a strong showing. And I know not everybody necessarily lives in the district, but I think probably 90% of you do. And so it matters. It really, really does. As was mentioned earlier, we can't, it's not a perfect world. We can't put everything in. But when we hear you and we know what's important to you, impossibilities become possibilities, because that's our job. Our job is to figure it out. Our job is to prioritize that checkbook and say what's important here, because there is no other district like Flower Bluff. And as was mentioned, we have two sessions now, because Flower Bluff is not the island, and the island is not Flower Bluff. We're very special. And so we wanted to make certain that, I know there's this whole thing about the bridge and going over or not going over, and I get it. Once anyway, it's the same with SPID for me. But anyway, it's important, and your voice matters, and we're here to listen to you. Everyone behind you, please stop by. This video was awesome. Our first priority is always the guys over there, white and blue, because police and fire come first, and that's who we rely on. And so we're funding them at historic, unprecedented levels, and we're going to continue to do that because they live for us every single day. So thank you all. Anyway, thank you for being here. We're so blessed to be a part of, this team, the city team. We appreciate all of you. We really do. So thank you. God bless you. And please go visit the tables. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so thank you all for this input, and for, I'm looking forward to talking to you some more. I know Flower Bluff and the island have their own, and yes, we are unique, but we're all District 4. So thank you guys for being here tonight. So I'll see you over there.